Welcome everybody. It's fantastic to have you all here today. My name's Scott Hebbard from Sparx Systems, and this webinar is introducing Enterprise Architect Trerado. It's great to have you here to talk about this amazing new product from Sparx Systems, and we have a panel of experts from Sparx Systems that are going to answer your questions and discuss Enterprise Architect Trerado. So it's a great pleasure to have everyone here today. So joining me today, I have a number of people. So I've got Tom, Nizam, and Stephen. All three of our expert panel have an extensive background in using and developing Sparx Systems tools. So gentlemen, welcome and thanks for joining me today. First, I'd like to introduce our Chief Operations Officer from Sparx Systems, Tom O'Reilly. Tom's been with Sparx Systems for over 22 years and has extensive experience in the IT industry, spanning a really impressive breadth of technologies, including everything from enterprise architecture and software development through to systems engineering, databases, project management, and even saw him today doing a bit of AI. Welcome, Tom. It's great
Thanks,
to
Scott.
have you here.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. It's been a little while since I've been on a webinar, so I appreciate the invite.
It really has. So it's nice to do that. Next, we've got Nizam Mohammed, who's the Director of Enterprise Solutions at Sparx Systems. Nizam assists teams to identify and implement architecture tooling solutions seamlessly. His extensive expertise in SaaS deployments with Prolaborate and Collaborate, and has been working with Sparx Systems products for many, many years. Once again, probably ranking into the decades. So welcome, Nizam.
Thanks.
And yeah, finally rounding out our panel, we've got Stephen Maguire, Enterprise Architect, Modelling Expert and CEO of Sparx Services Australia, with over 20 years experience in training and mentoring thousands of practitioners across nearly every role in the software development lifecycle. Stephen has a rare ability to connect executive strategy to engineering reality through the power of well-crafted models. So it's great to have everyone here today. And finally, my name's Scott Hebbard. I'm your MC and panel today, and you may have heard my voice on a few other webinars and videos around the tracks. So first off, our first question is over to Tom. So Tom, I was hoping that you could start us off with a bit of a broad overview of what Enterprise Architect Trerado is. So can you help set the scene and tell us exactly what Trerado is, who might use it, and why Sparx Systems has released Trerado, and who's it designed for? So set the scene for us.
Absolutely. Thanks, Scott. And thanks, everyone. Trerado has been on the horizon for, I dare say, a number of years now. I think we first announced it in our EA Global Summit webinars a couple of years ago. So Trerado is actually an amalgamation of 28 years worth of development with the Enterprise Architect range. It's sort of a coming of age, I guess, of all the tools and platforms that Sparx Systems has put together in that time. The main goal of Trerado is to deliver a single turnkey solution to get business and architecture modeling up and running within organizations. We have a bit of, I guess, product creep over the years where we have a number of products with a number of keys connecting in a number of different ways, and it can get quite involved when trying to deploy a soup to nut solution of Enterprise Architect inside organizations. So Trerado is actually the answer to that. It absolutely immensely lowers the barrier of entry to new users of the Sparx platform. So if you're an organization who is thinking about visual modeling, thinking about business modeling, thinking about your enterprise architecture solutions, and you just don't quite know where to start, then something like Trerado can get you up and running in a matter of minutes or hours. So there's no need to have to procure your IT department to get the servers up and running, to get the space, to make sure your certificates are in order, your license keys are in order, to figure out how many licenses you need for your organization for Enterprise Architect or Collaborator, or how many web users you're going to have. That is all taken care of with the Trerado solution. And conversely, with existing deployments of Enterprise Architect, it's a really simple way of expanding that deployment without going through all that heartache within organizations. Again, I think, Stephen, we were talking one day in one of your customers, and it was taking 6 months just to procure servers to get IT infrastructure up and running. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right, Tom. It is a challenge with organisations, with all of the security protocols that must be maintained. And as you mentioned, the certificates is one of the things that really does cause some delays. It requires firewall burns, and sometimes they are scheduled months in advance. So yeah, I'm very excited about this Trerado product, because it's really going to make it much easier for organisations to really get up running in days and weeks rather than months.
Yeah, fantastic. So it really does sort of help you get up and running, and the time that's saved in that is money on the table. So that's awesome. So along with the release of Trerado, it also comes in line with the retirement of the token licensing that we have, in favor of a more streamlined and clear product range when it comes to expanding your integrations and connections with the different Sparx products. So keep an eye out for that as well. So as I mentioned, Trerado is a single price for enterprise deployment. All your licensing is in sync, so you don't have to worry about your ProCloud server expiring in November and your Enterprise Architect license expiring in December. It's all lined up in one easy to approve financial model there. And finally, it can be customized for your organization. So we do have a number of bundle packs that come with different users of Designer and different users of the Collaborator and things like that. And that's something that our team can work with your organization to really tailor a specific deployment option for. So in a nutshell, Scott, Trerado is designed for easy deployment.
Fantastic. Simple turnkey solution, nice and easy, and certainly great for helping enterprises get up and running quickly and easily without having to worry about different licenses. So that's fantastic. Thanks, Tom. So our next question is to Nizam. So I understand that Trerado has the 3 specific pillars. We've got Trerado Designer, Trerado Core, and Trerado Collaborator. I was wondering, Nizam, if you could walk us through some of the differences, who each pillar is designed for, and what distinguishes each pillar from the other.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Scott. So, as an architecture platform, there's going to be quite a diverse audience. And one of the primary advantage of Sparx Systems architecture platform has always been there are specialized tools for specific stakeholders. So there has always been a modeler which has been used by architects to dive deep, to get to the trenches, do the detailed model of the system. And as many of us know, enterprise architects' strength is its ability to go from a very top level strategic view all the way down to detailed system level design. And that kind of ability to do all layers and go to the details also comes with inherent complexity. There's going to be a lot of information, there's going to be a multitude of views that we can generate out of those. But then there is another group of audience who would need information or insights from these models, and the only way they used to have was to rely on Word documents or PPTs. However, Sparx Systems, venture into a web-based collaboration tool to take all this model information and present it as reports and charts and insights and reviews, made a huge difference in bridging that gap between the architecture community and the wider stakeholders. So that those evolution that happened in the last 10 years has all been the learnings from the last 10 years has been incorporated in designing the Trerado as an offering. So the core ability to model, ability to follow standards like BPMN or Archimate, or even get into the nitty-gritties using UMLs and sequence diagrams. That's the role of a designer, and that's targeted towards the modelers, the architects who want to get to the details. But then the collaborator is the layer which has the ability to read the underlying model information and present it as simple dashboards, interactive reports, and charts, which people can slice and dice to focus on the exact information that they will be interested in. It allows architects to set up a review, let's say an architecture review in a periodic manner, ability for people to collaborate using a web browser where there is a active notification, attention, grabbing emails to bring people to the party to collaborate. So that's where the collaborator layer is. But then the core, as the name says, is the crux of this whole platform. So this is the back end where it bridges the database layer with the secure connections across the organization. It manages security, role-based access control. It exposes the REST APIs for external access. It enables integration with other enterprise tools. It's a very common practice to have tools like ServiceNows and Jira's and Confluences of the world integrated with the Sparx platform, so that that creates a holistic single source of truth. So Trerado is essentially incorporating all the learning that Sparx Systems has had over the last several years and package it into one offering that is seamlessly integrated, easy to set up and manage, like Tom mentioned. And it's also kind of smoothens this gap between multiple stakeholders that we are targeting. So those are the three pillars. But the essence of Trerado is its ability to seamlessly integrate all of them, so that it doesn't look like three different components anymore.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Nizam. And I know Stephen and I have been doing a few videos on the Sparx Systems YouTube channel, and it's fantastic to see that 1 minute you can be creating a dashboard for your C-suite, and the next minute you can be in Designer, modeling complex systems, and then you can integrate with other components. So it really is a nice single seamless product, coming back to that single turnkey solution that covers everything. So thank you very much for that, Nizam. So we might jump over to Stephen now. You've worked with lots of customers in lots of different areas. Who do you think might benefit most from using Enterprise Architect Trerado, Stephen?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Scott. Look, the answer to that question is really quite simple. A very large range of people will benefit from this from the stakeholder level. So Trerado is designed to serve a broad range of stakeholders across mid to large enterprises. So anyone in an organization, with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 300, 3,000, employees can benefit from this. And I guess the larger the organization, the more typically there are, issues with communication, issues with understanding. There are often, a large number of projects in flight. We have organizations that sometimes have up to 300 projects in flight. And for an executive or a senior line business manager to get a view of what's going on in the organization is a real challenge with the tool sets that people are currently using. But Trerado introduces, as Nizam was saying, an incredible ability for these people to get real-time and relevant and tailored information about what's going on in the organization, not just from a project level, but from an enterprise level as well. So the dashboards that Nizam spoke about provide this incredible ability to get this lens into the organization. And these dashboards can be, they can be tailored to meet each individual or each group's needs. So it really does apply to a wide range of roles. And while the IT and transformation leaders gain end-to-end visibility, technology strategy will deliver and compare current and future system states, for example. Project managers can benefit from dependency mapping and seeing the impact analysis of decisions or changes that are being made. And this can lead to a real reduction in the risk of the delivery of the project, or the governance and the compliance teams that need to make sure that all the audits and controls are being maintained properly. I guess at the practitioner level, architects modelling teams can work with rigorous standards like Archimate and the business process model and notation, TOGAF, and these standard-based allow them to create rigorous models and be able to people to view those models in real time. And I guess business stakeholders are brought into the conversation through, as Nizam's saying, this web-based collaboration tool that removes technical barriers, keeps the architecture grounded in business priorities. And I guess altogether, Trerado serves as a single integrated platform that connects strategy, delivery, and governance across every layer of the enterprise. So I guess in summary, Scott, it's really, Trerado is a tool for everyone. But the people that will benefit the most, I guess, in my mind, are these senior executives and senior business managers and project managers and people that need to get information in a format that's really tailored for them and that they can digest very quickly. These people have got a lot on their plate, and in my experience, they need to go into a platform and get information very quickly, and they can be guaranteed, because they're looking at things through Collaborator, and the architects have worked with creating robust models inside Designer, and the whole lot of it is connected. As Nizam said, it's one tool, it's one platform, and as Tom was saying, this isn't just something that we've dreamt up. This is the result of the distillation of years and years of product design, all distilled into a single deployable product and available, as Nizam said, through this SaaS platform, making it immediately available to anyone.
Thanks, Stephen. I think it's amazing that, many years ago, there might have just been a few, enterprise architects that might have held the data, but this approach means that everybody from different levels of the enterprise can contribute to the data, can view the data, can get insights and views and an understanding of what's happening, and they get that understanding in real time as it happens. So moving away from static old Word documents that go in a filing cabinet, and real world insights. And I think it's amazing to have it all in a single turnkey product. So thanks for that, Stephen. So the next thing, as we heard there, software as a service mentioned, and for those people that may have been familiar with using Enterprise Architect that's installed locally, they may not be familiar with Trerado being offered as a SaaS or software as a service deployment. So for those in our audience who may be less familiar with the SaaS model, I was hoping, Nizam, you might be able to explain what are some of the key benefits of deploying Trerado this way and having it hosted, and perhaps you can discuss why some of your customers and some of our existing customers have moved towards this SaaS deployment model to make life easier for themselves?
Thanks, Scott. Deploying solutions in-house has been the standard for many years, but in the last 5 to 6 years, at least, as we see, more organizations are putting a SaaS first approach. In pretty much every proposal that we get, it's a SaaS first approach.
Yes.
We say it on a lighter note, like COVID has been the strongest digital transformation enabler. Since COVID is when they realized, maintaining things in house has been overhead, and with all the enhanced security standards, compliance, governance, data protection, it's been an obvious choice for a lot of organizations to choose to go to cloud. It could be a SaaS deployment or it could be a PaaS deployment, but there's been a significant shift towards this in the last couple of years. And when we're designing Trerado as a single solution that is kind of seamlessly integrated, we also felt like it is high time that we offer it as a SaaS first solution, so people don't have to go through the overheads of setting it up and managing it and maintaining it. And it has evolved significantly in the last many years. So there's a single solution, almost like a turnkey solution that is connected to their federated authentication system, fully compliant to all the GDPR policies and things like that. And this kind of removes the overheads or the delays in deploying a software. There's been instances where people have bought software and they have kind of spent 6 months to 8 months just to figure out a server to host a floating license keys. I mean, as simple as a floating license keys. But as a SaaS solution, they get an opportunity to try it out, see if it works for them, and then quickly move to it. And it's not just new customers. We have more than 250 medium to large customers who have migrated to cloud solutions from Sparx Systems. And there's been existing models. There's been models that has been built over decades that has been migrated to SaaS. So there's been a whole variety of whole range of model sizes that we have migrated to SaaS. So SaaS has obviously become the default choice because of convenience and ease of use. And not only that, the enhanced security, governance, and compliance has become the encouraging factors for large organizations. So there's really large banks and governments and semi-government organizations using our SaaS platform is a testimony to show how much a cloud offering has evolved. And we having the SOC 2s and ISO 27001s and GDPR compliance is all adding to these factors. So it's been a while where we have, except some rare occasions in government or defense, most of the organizations across the globe make SaaS first as the mandatory requirement in their RFP. So Trerado is now available as a SaaS service, which kind of meets the emerging demands or expectations of the market.
Thanks, Nizam. And if there's people on the call today that want some assistance, maybe migrating across to this SaaS approach, can they get assistance from you and your team via the Sparx Systems website?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have saas.sparxsystems.com, which is essentially highlighting what we do, how we do it, how it kind of meets the security requirements or the compliance requirements. And our team from Sparx Systems, we are always ready to connect over a call, give an overview of how the platform is designed. So there's also discussions about having, cloud platforms that are specific in Europe. So there's a lot of variations that we are catering to. So we can have a discussion, give you a demo of how things are working, and we can discuss how we can assist in migrating or setting up an instance for you as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So I've got another question now for Stephen. So as a new customer, how might a new customer get up and running quickly with Enterprise Architect Trerado? Now, I know you and I have done a number of different YouTube videos to help show people how things work, but what are some of the other options that allow you to get up and running quickly with Trerado?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Scott. Yeah, look, there's a great opportunity here. The platform, as Nizam and Tom have spoken about, provides a foundation for people to get on and do the work that they do best. What we're doing here at Sparx Services and the other Sparx service organizations all around the world is that we're here to help you do the good work that you do, and getting you up and running quickly is one of our really, important missions that we're engaged in. We want you to be successful, and it's not only just getting you up and running. We're here for the long run. As Scott, you introduced, I've actually been working in this field for more than 25 years, and I've had this experience, creating models and seeing the things that organizations have trouble with, and they're all the things that we can bring to bear to make organizations successful. And we're there for the long run. We're not just there to set someone up quickly. We can do that, but we're there for the long run to make sure that an organization, a team, a group, a project is successful. So as the CEO of one of the Sparx service organizations, we're based here in Oceania, in Australia and New Zealand, and as I said, there are organizations all around the world. We're always focused on our customer success, and to this end we have a wide range of resources to help people get started and ensure they are successful in creating value for your clients, whatever your clients and customers are, whether they're internal or external. So that extensive partner network has a full catalog of services, including the setup and configuration. So even when the platform's set up, there are things that need to be done. An organization will typically have their own meta model and their own way of working. If you're an insurance company, then there are going to be things in the insurance world that you need to comply with, or particular modeling styles. And so that meta model is an aspect of it. There's data that needs to be ingested. You might have information, as Scott said, in documents, in spreadsheets, in other tools that you might want to connect to or decommission. So we can help you with that, and Nizam's team is there to help with that as well. And we've got training, mentoring services, so we can train your organizations. And as again, I think Nizam mentioned that how COVID changed a lot of the way that we work, and in some ways it's created a very fresh and new approach to training. We can do training in small blocks. We don't have to turn up to an organization for 3 days. We can do it in a number of hours, and that can be kind of dispersed over a number of different weeks to ensure that people can find room in their calendar to fit in a couple of hours of training. And mentoring, as I said, that's an ongoing thing. We're there to support you to be successful. Guidance, so if you need guidance on how to approach a new modeling thing, whether it's Archimate, TOGAF, business process modeling notation, how to get the best out of your models and how to visualize them in Collaborator, and technical extensions. There are times when the tool, as broad as it is, can't necessarily do every single thing that an organization needs. And so we have this service of technical extensions where we can create add-ins and do imports or connections to other tools. We've also developed an example model based on the Open Group's Archisurance example, so you may be familiar with that. But we've embellished the model and extended it with a wide range of business models, including business process diagrams using BPMN, mind maps, strategy maps. There is a huge range of things that we've put into it to make the model much more expressive, and we've extended it to allow us to, I guess, show off is the right word, to show off all the things that Designer and Collaborator can do, and remember they are now with Trerado, they are like two cogs that are working together. So we've created visualization to these models in Collaborator, and as Scott said, we've been very busy creating a number of videos in our recording studio to help people to see just how easy it is to get started. And we show sometimes how to create something like something based on like the Gartner time framework or life cycle roadmaps that traditionally have taken a long time for people to create, and we can show you how to do those really quickly in the videos. And of course, if that's not sufficient, we're here to help you, and you can reach out to anywhere across the world, to any of our service organizations, and that will get people up and running incredibly quickly. The tool also has a huge range of patterns, and many hundreds of them are focused towards strategic models, business and application and technology models, and they can all be injected directly into Designer by first viewing what the pattern looks like and saying, well, that looks like something I want to use, reading the documentation on the pattern, and then just pressing a simple button to say, inject this into my model. And that gives people a leg up, a start. It takes out what I call canvas fright. So it's like the image of an artist in front of a blank canvas going, what do I do? And with those patterns, you can just immediately get started and go, here's something that you can start with. And then the models are inside Designer, and it becomes a relatively simple thing to expose them through Collaborator. So I guess in short, and summing all that up, we are here dedicated to making you successful. That's our aim. We're not large consulting organizations. We're small, we're agile, and we're focused on your success. And we've got years and years of experience behind us to make you successful, both with the tools and the languages.
Thanks, Stephen. And obviously, for some of our international customers, we also have our partner networks that can help people in Japanese and German and Spanish and a number of different languages, including French, and can really help get people up and running. So that's great. And like you said, the patterns in Trerado are absolutely amazing. So you're not looking at a blank canvas, and you've got somewhere to start. Might hand over to Tom now. Now, one of the things that often stands out is, especially in today's society, is cost and pricing is the question that always is top of mind for anyone evaluating new software. And there are some organizations that make it really, challenging, but how much does Enterprise Architect Trerado cost? And is it possible to get a quote based on some of our customers' individual circumstances? So I might ask you, Tom, to discuss the licensing costs, and I might get Nizam just to touch on some of the SaaS hosting costs at the same time. So Tom.
Absolutely, we'd love to. Thank you very much, Scott. First of all, for anyone who's watching the recording of this, we're going to put that URL down into the comments, because that is a beast. An easy way to find it is to go to the pricing dropdown on the homepage of sparxsystems.com. Right, so the pricing of Trerado. Quite an interesting question, Scott, because it's actually one of the most flexible pricing structures that Sparx Systems has ever delivered to our customers. We've heard about it already this webinar, but we have the options for SaaS deployments. We have the option for PaaS deployments, so platform as a service, where the designer is on your local network and the hosting and Collaborator is on the remote network. And we also will have a fully on-prem solution as well. So keep that in the back of your mind. For each tier of Trerado, we've put together a few packs that would line up with different organization sizes, starting with the work group, team, Team Plus, Enterprise, and Enterprise Plus tiers. Now, each of those contain different versions of the designer based on your capabilities and what you're after, and different numbers of licenses for that and the web collaborator version as well. Now, taking them into account, we actually have, for the first time ever, per month and per quarter licensing, as opposed to just the per year, which you can do as well. So if you're looking to spin up a proof of concept just to test the waters, then you can contact the team and spin up a SaaS deployment for 1 month, play around with the patterns that Stephen was talking about and get a feel for it. If you're looking to use it at the project level, you have a project running for 3 to 4 months, then you can actually do per quarter pricing. So you can spin it up for a quarter, and then after that close down. So it really keeps the project and proof of concept costs quite low. It's also the first time that Sparx Systems has delivered a true enterprise license agreement. So in all these levels for Trerado, we will tailor and expand it to fit your organizational needs. So if you have 5 people working in a team with 5 collaborators or stakeholders who need to do that, or to view that work, then there's an option for that with the work group entry price. And at the other end of the scale, we have the Enterprise Plus, unlimited, whatever you need, or the exact numbers you need for a large organization, and that's more of a contact us scenario. So I would suggest for anyone who's thinking about whether this would be a fit, I don't think I can give you the exact prices, Scott, because there are so many options and it's so flexible. For all those different options, it's worth just reaching out and having a discussion with the team to see what is right for that. What I can say is that all the pricing for Trerado is on an annual basis, a per year basis, similar to how we do the pricing for the ProCloud server. And because of that, the total cost of ownership is actually lower than buying the Enterprise Architect ProCloud server and Collaborate licenses straight up. So
Excellent.
I would. Sorry, Scott, was that a question?
No, I was just go on.
So for anyone who would like to reach out, the easiest way to do that is to go to our website, drop down the pricing link, submit your team size, submit what you're after, and then our team will reach out, talk to you about if you would like to migrate your existing Enterprise Architect deployments. That is an option as well. It's also worth saying that Trerado at the moment won't be replacing Enterprise Architect. It's just an option that people can use, a very flexible option, but still an option indeed.
Yeah, that was my my follow-up question was, Sparx Systems is probably best known for Enterprise Architect, and I know I saw an email early on saying, "Oh, I've just invested in Enterprise Architect. Is it going away?" So I suppose the natural question is, they are different products, and but is it a replacement?
So it's definitely not a replacement. They do and will have parallel development tracks, so we're not just dropping one into the other. But if Enterprise Architect is suiting your needs and you've just done a deployment and you're happy with the product, then by all means can continue using it. But if you're looking for more flexible pricing, more flexible timing on those, or if you need to move to a SaaS deployment, then that's definitely the time to consider it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tom. So we've talked about booking a demo. So I just wanted to throw to Nizam to discuss, availability and what components usually form part of the demonstration process, and how easy it is to book a demo online. So Nizam, perhaps you could speak to that.
Yes, thanks, Scott. Like Trerado being a enterprise solution, it is mostly prefer to have a discussion or a demo based on the requirements that the teams have. So people usually approach us with certain use cases or certain pain points that they would like to address. So mostly use cases. So it could be an enterprise architecture use case, or it could be a process related one, or a solution architecture use case. So they usually state what they are looking for, and that based on that, our team can connect with them, give elaborate demo of how the platform can be useful to satisfy their use cases. So it's essentially not putting product as a as an empty thing, but rather a solution that will help them meet their objectives or use cases. So a demo has become a very common thing. This has been the case ever since we had the Pro Cloud servers and Collaborate and cloud solution as well. So for a Trerado, we have like the teams who are quite well equipped with different examples, different scenarios, different use cases that we can demonstrate in a Teams call that we can work out based on the customer's convenience, and then go through what can be done and what are the tools and accelerators that are available to help them achieve those use cases. So a demo, like you have the website listed, I believe the link will be shared in
Yes.
the comments or the notes as well. They could just visit this website and reach out to us so that we can work with them to find a suitable time to go through their use cases and discuss the possible solutions.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. And obviously, Stephen, if someone was to reach out to you to discuss training and consulting options in the Oceania area, you'd be happy to provide some assistance around getting up and running with Trerado?
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. So that's what we're here for. As I said previously, our aim is to make our customers successful with Trerado, and for that matter, all of the other Sparx Systems products, and also to help them bridge the gap with languages that sometimes we find people do training, formal training, certification training in languages like Archimate or frameworks like TOGAF, BPMN, and they need to make or transform that theoretical knowledge into practical knowledge where they're really, the rubber's hitting the road. They're creating models that are useful for people. They're creating visualizations to steer their organization, allow their executives to steer the organization in the right direction. So, that's what we're here for. And once that migration has taken place, as Nizam said, we can then, it's like a relay baton change. We can then get organizations, really moving forward with being successful with the, with their models.
Excellent. Just following up on that, Stephen, given that you've worked with such a diverse range of customers over 25 years across Australia and New Zealand, across many different verticals, given that experience, what are some of the benefits that Enterprise Architect Trerado offers your customers who may be just beginning their modeling journey?
Yeah, look, great question, Scott. The benefits are, in some ways, they're very difficult for people to see until, as Nizam said, that they see a demo and suddenly their eyes are opened to the possibilities. And look, I've had a wide range of discussions with architects and business modelers and people, and often these are done after training or in a cafe or a bar after we've worked. And there is a lot of disillusionment amongst some of the architects because their work they feel isn't valued. They're doing what they think is great work, and it is great work, but it never reaches the people that it needs to reach. Or if it does, the audience says, look, I don't understand these Archimate diagrams. I don't understand these BPMN diagrams. But with Trerado and with Collaborator, suddenly, and I've seen the look on the people's faces when they see it, they can see that suddenly the models and the information and the thought that they've put into their architectures is suddenly made palatable, digestible, in a form that business executives and line managers and project managers can suddenly see for the first time. And look, that's a really, really exciting thing in my mind. I see the look on their faces when they, when they see a demo or they get exposed to the tool for the first time, and it is, it's a revelation for them.
Yeah, it's really, I know attending conferences and things like that, sometimes just seeing a dashboard where people can see the total cost of ownership and can drill down into a simple chart to consume the information is just so powerful. And yeah, it's really, really great. And basically, when people are starting fresh, you can design and model systems that use their existing information as well. So yeah, it's fantastic. So the next thing I wanted to do, I know we touched on it briefly before, Nizam, but we talked a little bit about migration. So I suppose the question is, can I migrate older Enterprise Architect models in Enterprise Architect Trerado? And can you even migrate, for example, if people have stuff in Jira or in a spreadsheet and move them across to Enterprise Architect Trerado? So perhaps you could just touch on that briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the first question that would come to most of our existing users' minds is whether their enterprise architect models can be lifted and shifted to the Trerado platform. The answer is yes, absolutely. So one of the things that Sparx Systems has been focusing from the very early days is backwards compatibility. So as much as we are focused on making Trerado simplified and catered towards a specific use case or a specific solution. So that's one focus area throughout the product design of Trerado, is to make it specific to a use case or a solution, rather than having all the options open in one go. But as much as we are focused on that, there's full backwards compatibility, and I would even say it's transferable. So you can get your existing enterprise architect repository and move it across to the Trerado platform, and pretty much the designer, collaborator, and the core will work as is. And it's also backwards compatible as well. So if there are still users who are intending to use existing enterprise architect interface, so there could be scenarios where the enterprise architecture team could move to Trerado for the accelerators and solutions that it provides, but the data modelers or solution architects could still prefer to stick to the enterprise architect interface, which they have been using for years. That kind of a mix and match can also work. So it's pretty seamless and transferable as well. And to answer your second question, Scott, like in terms of getting information from external data sources, that has been one of the increasing focus recently. So there's always been data harvesting capabilities from Excel spreadsheets. There's been a lot of improvements that is happening in the Trerado side as well to support AI-based data harvesting. There is a webinar that's coming later this month where we're going to dive into the data harvesting part. But there's also more and more interest on getting information from tools like ServiceNow or even LeanIX for that matter. Jira's as an obvious choice. So Trerado being Trerado's core being the integration platform, there's a lot of enhanced integrations that's been implemented for Trerado that will make this data migration or harvesting much more seamless. So long story short, it's been built to migrate existing models and also incorporate information from external data sources so that users could start with a very strong baseline.
Fantastic. And we've talked about modeling and we've talked about dashboards. So the other brief follow-up is I've got real-time collaboration. So how does Enterprise Architect Trerado support real-time collaboration across distributed teams. So if you have a team across different states or different countries and they need to stay in touch and communicate, what are some of the features in Enterprise Architect Trerado that help bring that to bear? Nizam, perhaps you could mention a few things.
See, the whole platform has been built to enable stakeholders to work seamlessly. So
Yeah.
as some of the existing enterprise architect Sparx Systems users are aware, we primarily started as a modeling tool, but then we've been evolving into areas like using Pro Cloud Servers and Collaborate to engage the wider stakeholders. And as we discussed earlier, we have incorporated all the learnings from the last 10 years or so in designing Trerado, and our focus has been model and collaboration. So the models, building a model is one thing, but to keep it up to date and keep it relevant to the stakeholders is the key challenge a lot of architecture teams struggle to meet. And Trerado's inbuilt real-time collaboration capabilities across modelers and collaborators, having reviews and notifications and emails and everything that will kind of increase engagement is the backbone for the whole platform. So Trerado is the one of the main pillars of Trerado is collaboration, and as a SaaS platform that is available through browsers to modelers and to the stakeholders, it kind of fosters collaboration.
Thank you very much, Nizam. So I might try and wrap things up now.
Before you do, Scott.
Yes?
Before you do, I'd just like to add to what Nizam was saying. One of the advantages of a SaaS platform is that you can get instant real-time collaboration from different parts of the world. So traditionally we've used the Pro Cloud server to facilitate that communication, and that has always, well, not always, but on occasion come up against challenges with firewalls and things like that. The advantage of running a SaaS platform through a web browser is it negates all of that networking infrastructure from a pass-through level. So it's actually super fast, super instant to get that real-time collaboration for different teams in different locations around the world. So I thought it's just worth mentioning.
Yep. No, that's very, very well worth mentioning. There's a couple of questions here. First of all, this video and some of the detailed notes with links to the website will be made available on the Sparx Systems website, and so you can re-watch this and be able to click on the links to find out more information. Some of the questions we've covered, such as SaaS deployments and cost. So we will also follow up on some of these questions after the event, and we'll get back to you and provide some additional information. So I'd like to thank our panel, Nizam, Stephen, Tom. Thanks very much for telling us about Trerado, giving us a nice broad overview of what Trerado is, how it works. It's been fantastic to get all the information in one place and to help our customers understand what Trerado is and how it's going to help them in the future. Once again, visit sparxsystems.com for links to get a quote and to set up a demo so you can see how it can fit your particular situation. And I'd like to thank all of our customers and audience for joining us tonight or today, depending where you are in the world. It's been fantastic to have you here and to have so many people passionate and asking questions is fantastic. Before we go, I might just quickly see if you've got anything that you'd like to sum up. So we'll start with Tom. Do you have anything that you'd like to say in summary?
I think you did a pretty good good job there, Scott. The website, the YouTube channel covers a lot of the in-depth information that we have. Primarily, Trerado is about that speedy up and running, the simplified licensing solutions. So if that sounds something that you're interested in, then definitely take a look.
Excellent. Any summary on your behalf, Nizam?
I guess you summarized it very well, and it just like Tom mentioned, references to the website will be great. I think this is a quite interesting intro, launch session, but I think it will be worth mentioning that we're gonna have a series of follow-up webinars to dive into specific accelerators or specific use cases using Trerado.
Absolutely, and this is just a starting point for people that want to find out more about the product. And there are already 20 or so videos on the Sparx Systems YouTube channel stepping through various elements of the arc assurance model and stepping through how Trerado works. So this is absolutely just the first step. And finally, Stephen, did you have anything to add in summary?
Yeah, look, Scott, I did want to say one thing is that we've been talking about Collaborators being a visualization platform, but it's important to remember that people can contribute to the models through Collaborator, and this, I guess, falls under the general sort of heading of sort of the federation of architecture responsibility to a wider audience. So they're not just consuming, but they're also contributing to the architecture by entering information for particular properties of goals or drivers or business processes. So that's just one of the things that I thought about, after we've, Nizam has talked about collaboration and, other things that we've mentioned.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your support, and I really appreciate our audience for joining us tonight and learning about Trerado. It's been great to have you all here, and it's been great to have the valuable expertise of my expert panel. Thanks very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in future webinars. All the best, and have a fantastic week.